Hey everyone, and welcome to another podcast of Movies Worth Seeing. Today I am joined by Luke Aegis, film director for over 15 years, man. You look younger than me, and you've been a film director 15 years. I can't believe that.
Yeah, I've been making movies since I was a wee bub.
Yes, I'm joined by Luke, and we are going to do a spoiler talk on the Scream 6 film, Scream in New York. I was kind of hoping for a different name. You know how like sometimes they like to play on words, or Scream Takes Manhattan, or Ghostface Killer in New York.
I think it's just the Scream thing. It's just that much of a brand. They kind of can't deviate from it. Like, they haven't had a subtitle.
That's true.
You know.
How the fuck did they make this movie so quick after Scream 5?
I don't know.
How does that work?
It was confirmed like maybe the writers already had a script going that they were working on, like a spec script. Was spec script when it's free? I think so. Spec script.
You're the director.
Goes to show I have no idea what I'm doing. But this, like, they probably would have had like a whole bunch of ideas going, and then they're like, "Oh, it's been announced," and like, "Okay, cool, let's fucking hit the ground running."
Yeah. So you reckon they planned for like at least 1, 2, or 3 movies?
They planned for at least the next movie, I reckon. I don't know if they were ready to rock and roll, but they would have. They definitely would have had some fucking ideas. Anyone that makes a movie is automatically thinking about the next one. That's just the name of the game.
Scream 2 was made pretty quick after the first one.
Yeah, it was like 1998 and 96 was when the first was released. So yeah, you're not wrong. And I guess they're also trying to capitalize on the success and the money of the previous movie.
Yeah, the momentum. What did you think of Scream 6?
I quite liked it. It was entertaining. It definitely did things differently. Even just in the first scene, you're just like, oh, okay, I was not expecting that to happen. And then, it shakes things up. There were definitely things, though, that could have been done better. But overall, I thought it was quite an enjoyable movie. And I was like on the edge of my seat for most of the time. So, thoroughly entertaining watch.
Did you think that, because this is a spoiler talk, we're going knee deep into blood and guts of this whole movie.
See what you did there.
Yeah.
Slicing and dicing.
In the opening of Scream 6, we actually see, supposedly, at first we think we just saw who the killer is, and then we follow the killer after he's just killed someone in
And revealed himself, by the way.
Do you feel like that would have been cool if we knew who the killer was, or at least one of the killers for the whole movie?
No,
wouldn't work.
I absolutely disagree.
Too much of subverting expectations.
Yeah. But coming back to subverting expectations, I'm going to jump right to the other end of the film. I thought it actually would have been good. So, out of the 6 movies, there is like 11 in 13 chance that there's going to be one, like more than one killer, okay? So one of them, I thought if one of them had survived and was actually sent to prison and all that sort of stuff, I think that would have been kind of a good sort of way to change it up. Like, you don't actually kill the killer. The killer gets, like, some sort of form of justice or whatever. Like, they flirted that idea.
Did
like,
they? When
yeah. At the
in
end, where
this?
she's like stabbing him at the end or whatever, and then he's just like, "Well, I'm not a murderer, so I'm not going to like do this to you or something like that. I'm not going to kill you." And then she thinks about it. She goes, "Well, you fucked with my family," and then just kills him anyways. I'm like,
that would have been. Yeah, it was interesting. I thought she wasn't going to kill him, and it would have played into this whole thing that she's fighting with becoming a serial killer like her dad. And then the movie was just like, no, she kills him anyway.
Yeah. I guess maybe there's some sort of commentary there. Like, there's still that little bit of evil in her that might get away. And they even float the idea that she might even be the killer in a future movie. I think they did that in this movie even a little bit. But
they kind of did it in the last one and this one as well, flirting with this idea that she's the killer. And I'm so glad she wasn't the killer, Samantha, because
she's pretty cool.
She gives off some Ellen Ripley vibes. She's been through the trauma of the murders in the previous film, and has to be that voice of reason who just is constantly telling her friends, like, the killer's back. I know the killer's back. And everyone's like, why would the killer come back? It's not like the killers came back 5 other times. This Scream film, and it's one of my only, I only have a few complaints, but when people get stabbed, they should die. If a camera shows a character getting stabbed, dramatic music, like the whole 9 yards, which this film does multiple times, commit that person is dead, damn it.
Officer Dewey entered the chat.
Officer Dewey.
One thing that I thought was cool was there wasn't 2 killers in this movie. There were 3.
3.
Technically, 5. Or maybe 4, because we don't know if that other guy killed someone. But I thought that was an interesting twist. I knew they were going to do something different.
I was not expecting 3 killers. I was not expecting one of the killers to be someone who already died. You know what I don't like is the way that they tried to cover their tracks with it by being like, we're going to mention the plot hole, even though we're not really dealing with the plot hole fully. For example, I mean, so the detective who ends up being one of the killers ends up saying his daughter is one of the killers as well. She died in an earlier scene. And Samantha's like, how can she be alive? The cop dad is just like, oh, well, obviously, I'm a cop. I could do what I want. So I just switched bodies with some other dead body that I just had ready to go. And the whole time I was like, I need to see that scene. How the fuck do you just switch bodies and say it like it's the easiest thing in the world to do? Like, what a stupid question. There's some things in Scream where I'm like, okay, that was a plot hole, but I just have to look the other way. Otherwise, it's going to ruin it for me. A kill will happen in public in a spot where you're like, how did no one hear that shit? How did no one hear someone scream? There's lots of moments like that in the franchise. Randy's death with the van. You get to a point where it's like, okay, the killer just keeps stabbing this woman on a public train and no one's reacting to it. People would react and see it at some point and start screaming, but no one reacts in this world. Do people in New York just not give a fuck about people dying? Like in front of them? Are they just like really lazy?
It's like good old New York sense of humor. Bada bing, bada boom.
What are you gonna fucking do?
I'm walking here.
Yeah, she must have had it coming. I don't know. I'm surprised they didn't just have a bunch of people like on their phones while someone was getting stabbed.
And they just look up and like, huh.
Back to TikTok. I'm so shocked they didn't go that route because it's such a like true thing in life nowadays. Like when a car accident or something really bad happens, it's like people's first thoughts is to use their phone rather than like actually help the person. The stabbing in the subway, keep it the same, but maybe just have everyone react like, "Oh my god, I gotta film this for my TikTok influencers. Look at what just happened. Oh my god, guys, like." Share, subscribe.
Donate to my crowd. What's it called? Go crowdfund or whatever for my recovery.
Go fund me for my new kidney that I just lost getting stabbed to death. Go fund me.
Rip Michael. I'll just keep scrolling.
There's lots of really great things, but then there's these little things that kind of get in the way. That was just one of many deaths where someone got stabbed to death numerous times and the movie was just totally afraid to kill off the person.
Okay, speaking of things that didn't jibe, the absence of Sydney. I understand, like, I know I was following it. Like, I knew that Sydney wasn't going to be in this movie. Gail being like, wait, I talked to Sydney. And they turn around and they're like, what? What did she say? And like, oh, she's taken her husband and the kids somewhere safe. She's not going to be in this movie. It's just like, it probably would have been better if you just didn't even fucking acknowledge it. If you just let that slide. Like, I've got more weird ham-fisted or whatever.
I reckon it would have been even classier if they just announced with giant text, like, or
Sydney is not in this
like,
movie.
with the credits, like, Scream 6, Nev Campbell is not in this movie. Well, I respect him for being upfront about it. The Nev Campbell thing, I watched so many reviews of this, like, movie where they just kept saying the same shit. You'd think that Nev Campbell not being in the movie means that Scream won't work as a franchise, but it hasn't lost a beat. And I was like, bull fucking shit. I felt her absence completely in this movie. You can't do a Scream without Nev Campbell and think like people are just not going to care about it. It's like doing a Terminator movie without Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like, come on, man. Like, pay him whatever you got to pay him, dude. Like, you know the movie's going to do well. Like, the comment that Gail Weathers says, she's like, you know, she deserves to have a happy ending. Sydney deserves a happy ending, so we're not getting her involved. It's like, but you did all of those other fucking times. What does that mean? Like, she could still get killed. The smart thing probably would have been pay Nev Campbell the money, kill her off, and then you don't have to pay her for the next sequel. You don't have to worry about this becoming an issue because the audience will be like, well, she's dead. She's not going to come back.
But she deserves a happy ending.
I would
no one gives a shit about happy endings.
I'd rather see her character die than hear someone just be like,
She's
She
taken the
deserves
kids
a happy
away.
ending. She's not in the movie.
To be completely honest with you, like, I didn't mind the fact that she wasn't in it. And I do think that Sam and his sister, they make really fucking good protagonists. Like, they're just, like, kind of great on screen or whatever. And don't get me wrong, like, it's still not Sydney. They're not the OG. But at the same time, it's like, well, they kind of do work. And I think they did carry the story. And, like, at the end of the day, like, I don't know, maybe it might not be Sydney's story anymore. It definitely isn't fucking Gail's. I think we can agree with that. She wasn't even in the final scene. Like, don't get me wrong, it would have been so stupid if she's been stabbed and had to go to hospital and then rocks up
Well, she was another.
in a wheelchair at the fucking crime
and
scene.
just pulls out a gun.
Like,
Just,
that's
"Got you
one thing
now."
I hate about the movie as well, is just how fucking gun reliant it is. Like, it's like, I don't know, and a Halloween movie's kind of got like that too, but it's like, man, stop the gunslinging thing. It's like, it's not fun.
Yeah, because a gun, I always feel like, oh, it's instant kill, but like a knife, it's like.
Like, you that's the thing, you see it, blah, 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 blah. Like, every time in the Scream movies when they shoot someone in the head, it's like, oh, well,
It doesn't mean as much.
yeah. But that is a perfect segue into my next point. There's this scene right near the end. We're supposed to believe that 2 out of 3 killers is dead. Sam goes to shoot the final killer. It clicks. She goes and she grabs a knife. The final killer has a gun, and he points it at her. And instead of just fucking shooting her, he decides to run at her with the gun, and she decides to run at him with the knife. And it's like, why would you do that? If you've brought a gun to a knife fight, you definitely have the upper hand. What is that? What is with that? What is with that? What is with that? That's what drove me nuts about this movie.
That's
like,
the thing you were saying
yes.
before. Oh.
Surely you can agree with me.
To be honest, I think I must have got lost in the confusion at the end and missed that. There's just always something in the final moments of every Scream movie where you're like, that didn't make sense. I mean, every Scream film has the typical serial killer reveal, explains their entire backstory for why they're the serial killer and how they got away with everything when they could just shoot the fucking person. There were many times in the final act where I felt like Samantha and her sister could have died from 3 people on 2.
What you sort of said, I'm sort of sidestepping just that little bit. The twist, although kind of cool, although kind of different, it didn't hit hard. It didn't hit right. And don't get me wrong, I don't think personally any of the twists since the first movie have been especially good. These people are like this killers from one of the killers from the last movie is like dad and brother and sister. Like, I know they're trying to like reboot the fact that, because obviously it's a sequel to the reboot, so they're trying to like pay tribute to Scream 2 being like it's Billy's mother that's the killer and then Nikki. But you know, like, that's what they were trying to do. That's what they were trying to like keep it honest with. And I'm like, you probably could have just chose like almost any other thing. I originally thought, and technically I was kind of a little bit right. I was half expecting, instead of it being Scream, like, you know, someone related or whatever, I was half thinking that they're at a university, they're in New York, there's going to be like this sort of film studies cult sort of thing. And it's like all these like characters on the outside are actually Ghostface. Like, that's just the thing. There's not one Ghostface, there's not 2, there's like 10. Yeah, like it's an actual class. It's a film society. And technically I was a little bit right at the beginning, but the thing is with all like the massive shrine to all like the stab movies and the victims and all that sort of stuff, like I thought that was kind of cool, and that kind of would make a bit of sense, like this is their lair. But anyways, I was wrong, but I still think like something like that would have been a much cooler twist and like much less seen or expected. All those people at the party, like, holy shit, what if they turned out to be part of this film studies cult, like where they're all just killers?
It'd be interesting if like it is this film class, but like they find out in the final act, it's not like a battle with just the whole film class. It's more like them tracking down, trying to take out one by one all the film class. So it's almost like Samantha becoming the Ghostface killer who has to eliminate this whole group
of ghost faces.
Yeah. I did feel it was borrowing a lot from Scream 2, the idea, but it made sense. I felt like there was nothing else you could really do other than go for just the simple revenge motive. Because at this point, 6 movies in, it's like, what else are you going to do and be like, it's the niece of Randy because Randy got killed and she got traumatized and then she decided randomly 20 years later to go off on a killing spree. So, Favorite kill. I know my favorite. You want me to say my favorite?
Yeah, go
What do
ahead.
you think? The dude getting shotgunned in the face. Damn, that shit was cold. No hesitation either. He was just like, like he was a Terminator.
To be honest, like, I don't know, not many of them were super inventive. Like, I don't know.
What about the woman falling off the ladder?
See, I was thinking about that, but that's also not like a really good. I thought that was very sad death. I probably would say like the guy at the start getting killed. I think that was kind of cool. That sort of thing. I just thought that was really like, on the edge of your seat sort of stuff. And then when he finally gets him, and then he's just like, no one gives a fuck about movies. And he's just like, whoa. And then he cuts, and then it's the thing, and you're just like, holy shit, this movie's out of its fucking mind. Does this movie know what it is? It's a Scream movie. We all give a shit about movies.
What do you mean? We're watching a movie. You can't not give a shit. That doesn't make sense. It makes sense in that now that we know who the killers are, their motive has nothing to do with like copying the previous murderers. It's just straight up revenge. So that's a good way of like setting the tone and a little small kind of clue to be like, oh, who's the killer and what's their motivation going to be in this one?
And I think also, especially that line, like, no one gives a fuck about movies. Like, you can just be like, whatever bloody expectations you have, just throw them out the fucking window. It
was kind of funny that moment when one of the moments I really enjoyed was when they did have Randy's niece talking about the rules, and she was like, anything can happen in these movies. Like they'll kill off legacy characters and just totally fuck them over like Star Wars did. I was like, yeah, way to comment on other franchises just shitting all over their characters.
But it's kind of true though. Like you don't know sort of what to expect. It kind of comes back to that whole idea. I think she said it in the movie. Like sometimes the original characters need to die for the actual, story to sort of continue, which is part of the reason why they finally decided to kill Dewey in the last one.
If you don't kill off those people, like the audience is just going to be like, Dewey's not dying. And then, what the fuck? He is? Nah, no way. They did this in Scream 2, and then they're like, oh shit. Like he is dead. Damn.
I was saying that. I saw that coming. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, yeah, he's going to die.
You knew someone, like, when you do a film, like, so far after Scream 4, like, you knew they had to do something to shock the system.
You know what? They nearly got Gail. I thought she was going to go this one too, but I'm like,
they didn't kill anyone in this
She's
movie.
still cool. No, they didn't kill anyone once from the last one. I don't know, man. I am very much on the fence about it. Like, sometimes those legacy characters do have to die, but you do wonder, like, how many more movies is Courtney Cox going to be in? Do you think personally, like the slasher genre, like we've seen it sort of have a slight comeback with the whole reboots and all that sort of thing. Do you think maybe it has served its purpose, or do you think it can reinvent itself? Because there probably will be a time where the Scream movies will be remade with a totally different cast, because, that's just how it is. And they want to think about how they could do things differently, especially through a retrospective lens. With the whole elevated horror, is there going to be a Scream sort of movie eventually, like at least one that's kind of introspective?
I don't think they should ever try and remake Scream, because it would go against the whole point of Scream as a franchise. But I think that it would be really funny. I mean, like, as a franchise, they still got to go to space. That has to happen at some point.
Scream X.
Yeah, Scream X. Scream in space.
Well, they have done Ghostface Does Manhattan or Goes to Manhattan. So
exactly.
they got that Friday 13th movie off the list. It's going to be Ghostface Goes to Hell. It's going to be Freddy versus Ghostface. What's your favorite scary movie?
What the hell? What movie?
What kind of shit is this? Fucking teenagers.
I don't watch movies. I just torture teenagers instead. I don't know where the franchise will go, but I know the next film, I feel like it's going to be the blow off to like this trilogy of films.
Yeah, like a Halloween End sort of thing, possibly. It might just end it. They're all gonna die.
Yeah, just have everyone die.
Yeah,
and then be like, that's it. We're done.
And we never find out who Ghostface is. There you go, Scream. There you go.
A Scream movie where
changing the expectations yet again. We never find out.
The killer wins.
Yeah.
To get you guys some facts, Scream 6 was filmed in Montreal, Canada from June through to August of 2022.
So it wasn't filmed in New York.
Mon-
Wow, we were lied to. Of all things, the film market, advertising lied to us.
New York, new rules. That was the whole hook.
Yeah, that's the biggest fucking twist of Scream 6.
Longest film in the franchise at 2 hours and 3 minutes.
It didn't feel like that long.
No,
I think
it didn't.
Scream 5 felt like forever, and I think that was just because we were waiting like 50 minutes for Sydney to arrive.
Yeah.
In the trailer, Ghostface is seen using a shotgun in costume, ignoring the other killer's unwritten rule of resorting to guns only when they unmask themselves.
Oh,
Didn't notice that.
Is that a,
that's
is
a
that thing?
good point.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Discuss.
I did think that it looked weird seeing Ghostface holding a shotgun in that scene, and I was like, why does that look weird? And it's because I haven't seen it before. I've got a little bit of a little. Do you want to play a game? I'm going to do some trivia with you, Luke.
Okay, yeah.
And I've actually got a prize for you. You reckon we'll do 5 questions? In which fictional town does Scream take place? Gainesville?
Hang on.
Do you want me-
Woodsboro. That's it.
Yeah, correct. What is the name of the killers or killer in Scream?
There's 2 killers. There's Stu Marker and Billy Loomis. Well, you're talking about the original Scream, 1996.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, not the 2022 Scream. Although, I could have got you with that. What does the unknown caller ask Casey Becker at the beginning of the film?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Nice, nice. What is rule number 1 on Randy's list of rules for surviving a horror movie?
Ah, shit. Okay, so there's don't say you'll be back because you won't be back. There's don't have sex. I think it's like don't say that you'll be back because you won't be back.
You had it before. Don't have sex.
Don't have sex. Fuck.
I'll allow
There
it.
goes my prize.
I'll allow it. Fuck it. Which performers dated during the filming of Scream 1?
Nev Campbell and Bill. What's his name? Matthew Lillard.
Yes, correct. Nice. You've won a prize, Luke.
What is it?
It's
Whoa!
as a special thank you to Luke for joining today's episode and winning the quiz. I presented him with a metal poster from Displate. I'm not sponsored by Displate, but would like to be at some point.
Sponsor him.
There you go, Luke.
Thank you, champion. That's really freaking cool. I like it. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna get one of the decapitated victims from one of the Scream films, but yeah, they just didn't do a good enough job on the blood. I think we're gonna wrap it up there, but Scream 6. If you haven't seen it yet, we've spoiled the whole movie for you, so.
So fuck you.
So
no one
fuck
gives a
you.
shit about movies.
Fuck you. It's right here, right?
It was New York.
It was
in Montreal.
It was a Scream in New York, all right? Bada bing, bada boom. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. And comment below, what were your thoughts on Scream 6? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What are some of your favorite moments in the Scream franchise?
Thanks for having me here, Pish. It's been a great time. Yeah, I liked Scream 6. I want to put that out there. Had a lot to say about it, but good fucking movie. You guys should go see it.
Bring back Nev. I'm going to start a hashtag, bring back Nev. All right, that's us, guys. Take it easy.